video to see how you are getting those problems right or getting those problems wrong. So thank you for joining us today, and let's go ahead and take some notes.
So on a number line, you're going to have a 0, and a 0 is the only number that is negative or positive. And then from that 0, all the numbers to the right are positive numbers, and all the numbers to the left are negative numbers. And negative numbers are going to have that negative sign in front of them, so you can tell the difference. So here's our number line. And so if you have a number and another number that is to the right, that number, second number, is going to be greater. If you have your first number and then the second number is further to the left, then that's going to be smaller. And a positive number is always greater than a negative number. These first problems are going to give you a number line, and it wants to know what position on the number line is the dot located. Well, we can see it's in negative numbers, so that means that negative numbers are going to decrease in the same way as positive versions, only they're going backwards from their positive versions. So here I'd have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's going to be negative 9 there, which is choice B. You just have to remember that negative numbers go backwards from what you're used to. In the number line above, fill in the blanks. So I'm looking at negative 6 and negative 3. So I'm going to put a mark at negative 6 and one at negative 3. Which one's going to be bigger? Well, the number that is further to the right is always going to be your bigger number every single time. So that means negative 3 is going to be my bigger number. So that means that negative 6 is less than negative 3. It's the smaller number, which is choice A. Now I have a question that wants to know which one would be the furthest right on a number line. So if you think about a number line, you can actually sketch one out on your paper to answer this. You're going to have 0, and then you're going to have negative numbers to the left, and then you'll have positive numbers to the right. So here, if it's the furthest to the right, that means it's going to be your greatest number, because the numbers go up as you go to the right. So the biggest number here, I look and they're all negative. So that would mean the one that is closest to 0. The number here that's going to be closest to 0 is negative 3, which would be right about there. So B is going to be my final answer. This one here is asking which one is closest to 0 on a number line. So I'm looking, and each of these, negative 5, that would be 5 units away. 12 would be 12 units away. Negative 11 would be 11 units away, and D would be 8 units away. So you don't really have to look at the negative symbol here. Here I just want to see which one would be the closest, and that would be A, negative 5. My final answer. Now we're going to look at some real-world examples of negative and positive numbers. So anytime you're talking about owing somebody or below the norm, that's going to be a negative number. So here, what integer below represents a debt of $17? A debt is you owe somebody money. So if you owe somebody money, that's always going to be represented as a negative number in an account. So that's going to be D, negative 17. The elevation of New Orleans, Louisiana is negative 6 feet. Which of the following best describes negative 6 feet? Does that mean it's 3 below sea level, 3 feet above sea level, 6 feet below sea level, or 6 feet above sea level? Well, if it's negative, that usually means below, and you aren't going to change the number from 6 to 3 just because you feel like it. It's going to stay a 6. You don't change numbers for no reason. So negative 6 means that it's 6 feet below sea level, which is choice C. Which integer below represents a temperature of 12 degrees below 0? So once again, there's that keyword below. Below sea level, below 0, those are all going to be negative numbers. So negative 12 is going to be 12 degrees below 0, and that's going to make B my final answer. Next question says, Frank is looking at his online bank account summary and sees a money transfer for positive $60. Which of the following best describes positive $60? So it's either going to be A or D because we aren't going to change the $60 for $30 for no reason. So if he has a positive $60 in his account, would that be $60 spent or $60 received? Well, if he spends the $60, he's losing that money. It's going away. So that would be a negative number. Whereas if he's receiving it, that's a positive thing. That's money coming in, adding to his account. So that's going to be a positive $60 in the account summary. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you learned something new.